Hey everyone, welcome to the SomEThing podcast by Linea. I'm your host today, Suza. I'm so happy to be back with you guys. It's been a long time since I've hosted one of these, so thank you for having me back. Over the past few weeks, you may have noticed that Linea has made a series of announcements that kind of show where we're headed into our TGE and beyond our TGE. Some of these may include if you haven't noticed, maybe let me get you up to speed. We've announced enabling bridged ETH to earn native yield. We announced burning 20% of all fees paid in ETH to be burned. And we've also announced our tokenomics, which gives an 85% of all Linea token supply into the hands of the ecosystem. So put those all together and you get a goal that's pretty straightforward, which is create an L2 that strengthens Ethereum instead of extracting value from it. And a big part in ensuring that happens is putting the right people in place to manage one of the largest ecosystem funds in Ethereum, which will be on Linea. So that's where the Linea consortium comes in. One of our announcements was about our governance of the token, which will be the Linea consortium, which is a group of stewards who are responsible for managing 75% of all of the Linea token. And one of those stewards we're having on today is Status Network. So if you've never heard of Status Network, you should. You should have by now. They've been around since 2017 and they have a long history with Ethereum, contributing to Ethereum in a lot of different ways and maintaining the ethos that makes Ethereum, like decentralization and privacy, open source code, things of that nature. So joining me now is Sip. He's the head of Status Network, and he's going to be talking about his journey in Ethereum. Hey, Sip. So nice to see you.
Hey,
Sip is wearing his party shirt today, and we're all thankful.
hi everyone. Hey, how are you doing today?
Yeah, we're so excited to have you, Sip. Sip is a good friend of, I consider you a good crypto friend as well as a friend to Ethereum, which is so cheesy, but also Linea. So how are you feeling? Are you excited to be part of this great consortium?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's we've been working with Linea for a while now, and when with the team we started to think about how to move the governance forward and how to start thinking about like how to manage that fund and how to have a way to reward ecosystem members in a way
Sure.
that makes sense on the long term, then yeah, just jump on the
Yeah.
opportunity, of course.
Okay, let's start at the beginning though. I just got so excited to say hi to you. Let's start at the beginning. So, for those of people who are listening or watching who may not know you yet, can you just give us a quick overview of Status Network? What, who are you, and what's the mission that drives your work in the Ethereum ecosystem?
Of course. So Status Network is Status L2. Status has been around for a while now. We did an ICO back in 2017. Then it grew on to be a pretty large organization, very similar to Consensus in some way, where we had different departments doing different things. So the main thing originally was really the Status app, which is a wallet and a communication app. Kind of, you can think about it like a decentralized Discord if you want, with a wallet integrated into it. But then to create that Discord in a decentralized way, we needed to have peer-to-peer decentralized encrypted communication system. So this is Waku. Then we need to have a storage system that is also decentralized, that is Codex. We needed to have like a proper light client for Ethereum to like know the truth on the chain, on chain state. So that's Nimbus, and so on and so on. So we kind of started to grow the ecosystem. And Status L2 is the latest addition to that ecosystem. In a few words, Status L2 is based on the Linea stack. So Linea as a rollup, as an L2, but
Right.
Linea created its own stack to make it a reality, right? So, and that stack is usable in the sense that anyone can build new L2s based on the Linea stack. So this is the choice that we made. I spent maybe like a year doing a full due diligence on the whole space, and the Linea stack was, from my point of view, the best one to build on. And if you look at
Yeah, we
if you look
are.
at if you look at ENS, they basically made the same
They have,
decision, right,
yeah.
for name chain. Yeah. So and so yeah, we were the first one to really take the Linea and the Linea stack and make it kind of a new rollup. And so Linea based
Sure.
L2 is the first one is Stylus Network. And I would say the main particularity of that new stack, of that new L2, is that it's a fully natively gasless L2,
Gasless.
meaning users are not going to be paying gas on it. And second thing is, and to kind of mirror a bit your introduction, we are going to give back all the yield created by the L2 to the
Wait,
users.
we're going too far ahead.
So
We're going too far
yeah.
ahead, Sip. Okay, so let's like break that down first, okay? So the first thing is that, do you know there's like this wild rumor going around? I don't know if it's still going around, but that like Linea was a fork of Polygon. And every time I hear that at conferences, I'm like,
What?
how dare you,
Oh,
sir?
right.
But it's not. It,
No, that's,
right? You were
yeah,
there in
it's
the
not.
beginning. You were like, I heard you did tons of research, right? You met with Nicola and you yes.
Yeah,
So and
yeah,
you picked us because 'cause we're the best one. Thanks, appreciate that. Okay, so
yeah.
you've been around Consensus, Ethereum, Linea for a while. Like you said, you're using the Linea stack for your L2. Let's talk about the thing that I cut you off. I just wanted everyone to hear that so we have it. So the native yield thing is first of all, I actually looked it up today. I wrote a post about it because I was like, do I understand what native yield is? And then after I looked it up, I thought, no, I didn't, but now I do. So tell us about native yield because we're doing that. You're doing that. I don't know if other chains are doing that, but this is a big thing. And then tell us how, like you said, like how that allows you to be a gasless chain for users and dApps.
Of course. So I think this is kind of uh, it's an old idea in the crypto world, meaning like it was done by Blast, I think a year and a half ago or
Hmm.
something. And so when we started looking at how to build our L2 and what are the new features that we want to bring in, native yield was one of the first. We wanted to have the ability to, in a very basic terms, when users bridge their ETH to the L2, instead of just like sending a message to the L2 and bridging the ETH right up, we deposit it to, so in this case, it's going to be Lido V3. So the new version of Lido that is coming up, I think in a month plus. Um, and so Lido, what they do is they stake natively the ETH on Ethereum, and they send up the yield back to the chain. And so now it's up to the chain to decide what to do with it, right? And so Linea, for example, is going to increase the yield of LP depositors. So
Yes.
when you deposit liquidity in the native DEX, your yield is going to be boosted by that native yield.
Yes.
So
Let me
that's actually like a very, very good feature.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
go ahead.
actually I just wanna make sure again, you're so good. Just wanna this is so crazy. I didn't know. I mean, I thought when a bridge happened, like when you bridged ETH over, I thought it was burned on the first chain and then created on the second, and then that was like the mechanism that I understood it. But no, it just sits there in this contract, and it's like this ghost ETH that just is sitting in a contract on Ethereum, right? So like you said, Linea is going to actually take that yields and share it with users and the chain for public goods, something that you are going to be managing as a steward, by the way. You're going to decide what to do with that yield. Okay, cool. So Linea is going to divide it up into two buckets. What does Status Network do with that yield?
Yeah. So because we want to offer natively gasless transactions, transactions means not only sending ETH, receiving, using DeFi, using games and so on, but also deploying contracts for developers. So even deploying contracts on the chain will be free to do. But to do that, we still need to operate the chain,
Right.
right? We still need to pay the, meaning we still need to be able to have some ETH just to pay for the settlements.
Yeah.
And so what we do is we take the native yield, so all the ETH coming from the L1. By the way, Linea is going to be focusing on ETH. On our end, we're going to do ETH plus stablecoin. So we're working with Aragon actually on that to get a new stablecoin out that will allow us to have that new stablecoin generating yield and bridging that yield to the L2. So we'll have like kind of a boosted yield, boosted native yield if you want. And on our end, how it's going to work is 30% of that yield is going to go to the L2 operation. The goal is to reduce that percentage as much as we can. So just like cover our costs and that's it. And the rest of it, so kind of the net yield, 100% of the net yield will go back to the community. And how it works is that people will be able to vote on where to allocate that yield. And so it can be for public goods, but it can also be for boosted LP positions. It can be to, fund some new app. It can be to do literally anything. As long as you can put an address as the recipient, then you're good to go and people can vote on it. And the more you use the network, the higher your voting power will be on where to allocate that yield. So for the DeFi people out there, it's kind of Curve. It's literally like Curve, but applied to a whole chain.
That is amazing. That's one of the things about crypto, the experience. Every time, you send, it's like the tiniest transaction. You got to go into your MetaMask and approve the 1 cent, and you're like, this is just for a penny. So the idea of having gasless, especially for like gaming and social, right? Like those things don't seem very possible unless there's a gasless network. So we're super aligned. Linea and Satis Network, both L2s, built on the same stack, doing really cool things with native yield. It makes sense that you're a steward. So let's talk about the Linea consortium. Were you approached? How were you chosen? Do you feel amazing that you were chosen? Were you like, I was chosen? You just wake up in the morning and think that? Because I definitely would. How did it come about?
So I've been in talks with the Linea team since basically Istanbul. It was Dev Connect, so 2023, October 2023. And I originally didn't, I kind of discarded Linea originally, mostly because it
How
was an
dare
open,
you?
yeah, it was an open source at that point. And everything we do at Status needs to be open source. That's kind of our main, one of our core
Because your
values.
ethos. You are like
Exactly.
Ethereum ethos. Yes. Okay. Keep
Exactly.
going.
Yeah, you get it. So then for me, it was like Linea looks amazing. Like I'm really bullish on ZK VM technology, but if it's not open source, we can't use it. It doesn't work for us.
Mm.
And then I met the team in Istanbul, and I had like super long discussions about like how to collaborate, how to build together, how to build in public, and kind of making that stack open source. And so when it was open source, it was actually funny story. It was actually part of our initial agreement that we would only use Linea as a stack when it will be open source. And so it
Wow.
was kind of a pressure on the on the Linea team side to make it
That's
open source
good.
as fast as possible so we can start building on it.
Wow. And then
Yeah,
and then and then they're like, wow, you made us decentralized. Like you're the ethos of Ethereum. Like Sif, just come be on our little, ecosystem fund manager. Is that what happened? You're just like
that
friend of the chain?
yeah, it's a friend of the chain. Yeah, exactly.
Friend of the chain.
Um, it's very 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 close to that actually because if you look at the history of L2s, you've had the OP stack, and the OP stack did a wonderful job at business development. They were able to get all those big names building on them. Then you got zkSync, they did their own thing on their side. You got Arbitron, and so Linea initially was not thought of as a stack, right? It was just like an L2. So when we came along, I was like, we need that stack because it seems to me that it's the best on the market. But we need to be able to use it. And I think we need other people to be able to build with it. And
Mm.
and so I think the whole kind of a consortium and like being a steward and so on, it came with that realization that building a stack alone doesn't make sense. To have an ecosystem that is long-term thinking, that is forward-looking, you need to have strong allies, and you need to have a lot of people and organizations building on that stack. And we were actually one of the first contributors directly on the Linea code base because we needed to have like a few features, we needed to have like a few things, just like some testing that we needed to do. And so this is where we started collaborating like even closer with the team. And so, I mean, I've been in touch with Declan before him with Nicola, and then with Declan now for a while. And we are, I mean, we're literally exchanging ideas every day in the sense that we have some ideas for the strategy. Linea has some ideas for like go to market and for the TGE and the checker and so on. Like what is the main topic of the day, of course. But but yeah,
When
we're here
TG.
when checker. I mean, that's I'm trying to help also here to make sure that the community gets rewarded, of course, but also it makes sense for the whole ecosystem, not just
Yeah,
for, hey, I've been farming Linea for like 3 months, can I get some tokens? Yeah, maybe yes, maybe no, we'll see. But also, what does it mean in 10 years? Like, how do we make sure
right.
that as an ecosystem in 10 years, we're still here, we are like one of the strongest L2 around, and there's also that vision, of course, that Ethereum is moving as a blockchain is moving towards like real time proving and like ZK, like snarkifying everything and so on. And I think that Linea has a very strong role to play here because it's the most performant ZK VM, and it's also the only ZK VM that is EVM equivalent. And that is super
That's
important
true.
because it means that for any developer that don't need to be making changes to their code versus Ethereum to be able to deploy in Linea. And this is also one of the properties that we wanted to keep as status. Yeah.
Wow, what's so funny is like I said, like, oh, you just got on the consortium because you're like a friend of the chain, but that's like, I wonder if let everyone know it's not casual. Even though Sip, you're wearing your casual guy shirt, this is not a casual like appointment, right? Like there's lots of vetting. There's it sounds like there's tons of alignment, right? Not only like of a shared vision, but a shared vision for how do we support Ethereum? Do we share the same ethos as Ethereum? Like you got us to change our code base, you got us to like decentralize. So I feel like the pressure you put on Linea is good. Pressure makes diamonds, right? And I will also say that a lot of people were like, "Ah, Linea, that's a dead chain." That people were like, "Ah, that's not gonna happen." And now I feel like we've risen from the dead. Don't you feel it? Ah, I feel like I'm just like alive again. I'm feeling so good about all of our announcements. I'm feeling good about our consortium. And you've been in crypto a long time. 2017, right? Status Network was launched. It's 2 years after Ethereum. It's going to be your 10th birthday soon. Uh, in
It,
two years, right?
it was like, so for status in particular, yes. For me personally, I've been in crypto since what, 2014 or something.
Oh
Uh,
man.
yeah, before Ethereum. Funny
Do you want to
story.
swap hard wallets or should we swap cold wallets? Do you want to? Can I have yours? You could have mine, or
So you would actually be disappointed because I actually entered through the kind of academic side. So really thinking about how to build
oh,
coordination mechanisms or to like do decentralized governance and so on. And I was like, those tokens, why people are like, bidding on that? Like that makes no sense. And then I was like, oh shit, I should have done it actually.
I know. There's always hindsight. But you know what? If you don't miss out on a big opportunity, are you really in crypto? Like,
Oh
if
yeah,
you
yeah,
haven't
yeah.
watched your wallet crash, are you really in crypto?
Exactly.
Okay. So you're talking about the future, about 5 years, 10 years. So what do you think Linea should look like in 5 or 10 years? Like you're going to be on the consortium. Like what is our future? How do you want to help shape this future?
Yes. So I think there's like a couple of answers here. There's the answer at the kind of technical level, and there's the answer at the ecosystem level. So at the technical level, I feel that, as I mentioned just before, the closer we stay with Ethereum, the higher the chances of Linea being, um, I would not use the term enshrined because we're kind of not there yet, but it's kind of the idea. It's like we
Yeah,
want to kind of build the canonical way to prove in real time Ethereum and to scale it massively, horizontally and vertically, using ZK technology. And so uh, one of the huge work that was done by the Linea team was on the arithmetization, meaning like how do you make sure that the code is optimized to uh, to be able to create the smallest blocks or like the smallest hashes in the end that are going to be um, settled on Ethereum, because this is how we scale the chain. And this is also one of the reasons why I chose why I chose Linea originally. It's because so much work was being done on things that are mostly ignored by a lot of teams, such as data compression, like making sure that you can pack as much data as possible in the smallest amount of bytes as possible, so that the weight on the Ethereum chain is as
right.
light as possible. And so I think this is kind of the overall direction, right? It's like
Mhm.
continuing to be close to Ethereum, contributing to Ethereum scaling. And I mean, 5 to 10 years, Ethereum will change a lot. We'll have even PRDAS just like next year, probably will already change a lot of things. We're going to have like a lot of improvements on the L1, but the L2s need to be here to support the vertical and horizontal scaling as we go. Um, so that's for like the kind of the technical part. For the more ecosystem part, I think the the huge effort that the team made to create that ecosystem fund, which by the way, I don't think a lot of people realize, but when people create L1 or L2s, they make a lot of money when the token launches, like at the personal level. The reality is that no one in the Linea team will actually make money out of that. Yeah,
I'm getting
and
0 tokens.
literally, and literally, no one is getting tokens. I'm not getting tokens.
No one's getting
I
tokens. Yeah.
yeah, like no one literally in the team or like very close collaborators to the team is getting tokens. Some organizations, like some core contributors, some like partners and so on, may be getting token, but like not at the personal level, right? So there
Right.
is no personal incentive there to just like dump on the market on the first day or whatever, because
Right.
there's no way to do it. So for me, when I saw that, I was like, wow, this is like super impressive. I've never seen any team do that so far. So that kind of makes me even more bullish for the ecosystem. And
Yeah.
it also means that the entire ecosystem is geared towards how we use that like massive war chest of Linea tokens, not just to dump on the market on the first day, but on the
Right.
contrary, to make it last as long as possible into the future, to be
Right.
able to fund opportunities for everyone, meaning to fund open source research, to fund apps, to fund uh, public goods, and just make the overall ecosystem better. And so I think this is kind of critical here because this is not something that any ecosystem has done so far. And I'm like super happy to be here to help make sure that this
Yeah.
gets done well.
Yeah. I think people ask, I've gotten the question, they're like, oh, you're not getting tokens? Like, aren't you mad? How do you go to work every day? And I'm like, I still have a job. Like, I get a salary. It's not like consensus pays me well. It's not like I'm like waiting for tokens that never come. And that's like, like my life's payment. Like, yeah, I think like is it a bummer that people aren't getting tokens? Yeah, of course, but it's also so cool that people who have been in crypto like yourself for so long, they read our tokenomics and they're like, "Dude, this is so good." And people are so excited about it. And so I don't know, I feel like it's worth it. I don't feel hurt about it. Do you feel hurt about it? I'm excited about it. Is that weird?
I mean, I was super
Maybe we
bullish.
share the ethos of Ethereum. Maybe
Yeah,
we
that's
should
it.
for the
Right.
community. Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so what else? So, well, actually, another thing too, we were talking about ecosystem, the future of ecosystem. So it seems like Linea is getting set up. I mean, I don't know if you've seen Joe Lubin. He's on like he shut down NASDAQ. He like rang the bell. He's on like a world tour of talking about Ethereum. Linea got mentioned on MSNBC. I was like yelling at the TV. I was like, yeah, Linea, right? Like he's on a global tour to talk about Ethereum and to push it to the mainstream, which says to me that TradFi will be welcome here. We have native, right, like yield on bridged ETH. You have $10 million worth of ETH. Why don't you just put it on Linea and put it in position and then make more money on it? Do you see Linea as onboarding these mega giants, or do you see somebody like BlackRock like forking, like what Status Network copying, right? Like our code base. Like, how do you see where do you want us to be in 5 years or 10 years?
It's actually a very good question because it's something that I've thought about a lot in the past year or two. If you look at how other ecosystems are doing it, OP Stack, for example, what they did was to charge 15% of sequencer fees, or I think 5% of net sequencer profits, if I'm not mistaken. And this is actually one of the reasons why we didn't build on OP Stack, is because we couldn't be actually able to, you know, build on it, because with the gasless economy that we want to create, we are not going to be able to pay the OP Stack. And
Mm,
also because we wanted to give back like everything back to like every yield or every revenue from the chain back to the community, we can't just like fork out like 15% to like another entity that we don't know what
right.
they're going to do with it. And so when we discussed initially like how are we going to work with Linea, it needs to be open source and it needs to be without any fees. So how does the Linea ecosystem profit from that, right? And to your point, what if BlackRock comes in and be like, oh, I'm going to launch my own L2 and I'm going to just fork Linea and do whatever I want with it? The
Right.
reality is that what we want to do with the Linea ecosystem is to have a common roadmap for everyone that adopts the stack, so that we have better research. We have like just we are collaborating on the same technology, on the same code base. On our end, for example, we contributed to the native yield. We are going to make the gasless module open source for everyone to use. So literally, if you want to launch a Linea chain, you will be able to get access to the gasless module and make your chain gasless if you want to. We are going to be collaborating also on the alt DA, so making it the Linea stack compatible with not only the Ethereum data availability layer, but also on others, such as EigenDA, for example. And so all of those kind of additional features are going to be available for everyone that uses that stack. And so if any big company wants to come along, we'll just welcome them and be like, yeah, you can take it. The only thing we ask in return is to make sure that you are collaborating with us on the same stack and we kind of share the same vision. I think in
Mm,
the long term, what we want also to see happening is kind of a more like a closer integration and closer interoperability between the chains. Meaning, I want to be able to go from Linea to Status Network very easily, not going through the
right.
L1, right? And so those kind of, I mean, it's called synchronous composability. Where I don't think we'll ever get there because it's very, very hard to do. But because we both use zero knowledge proofs, it's actually possible that at some point we are able to take proofs from the other chain and
Mm.
post it to our chain and contrary.
So we can
So
build a little cluster. Like you
the,
can if there's like a ton of like L2
yes,
Linea forks, maybe there's like a specific bridge that we offer that connects them all together to build like their
yeah,
little
it would. I
cluster.
think it will not.
That would be
Yes,
cool.
yes, it will not even be a bridge. It will be
Yeah.
probably like just a messaging system. I mean, bridges are messaging systems, but it will be kind of a messaging system to be able to say, hey, I want to open a position on So Linea just got Euler deploying, right?
Yes, we did.
I'm on Status Network. I want to open a position on Euler on Linea. And I want to be able to do that in kind of one click. And what happens behind the scene is the two kind of sequencers are communicating and making sure that positions make sense between the two chains. This is really something that we kind of want to see happening in the future, because it will make the cluster worth and the cluster impact way bigger. The more people will join, or the more organizations will join, the more the impact of the cluster will be, and the higher the value of being part of the cluster will be.
That's so cool. And you started out as a messaging platform combined with like a wallet and like a browser kind of. So sounds like maybe you have some experience that you could lend to us.
Exactly. Yeah, we have some ideas. We have some ideas.
Okay. So
It's not there yet, but yes.
I mean, it's your first day on the job, so we'll forgive you. Um, so you're managing a huge ecosystem fund. It's the largest fund by allocation in Ethereum. So if let's say today's day one SIP, you have some initiatives, about building this connectivity between clusters. What are the things like if I'm a DApp and I'm looking to launch on Linea, or I'm like, how do I get grants? Right? I've been working on Linea for 2 years since before we went to mainnet. Everyone's like, when grants, and now we're gonna have funds. Yay! Finally to do that. So like, what advice would you give to people who are looking to build something like what do you want to see being built on Linea that kind of like progresses the vision of Linea for the next 5 to 10 years?
Wow.
Just
Very
on the
good question.
spot.
So
Didn't
yeah, right.
extend this one to you ahead
I
of
need to
time.
I need to think about this one. No, but okay, first of all, how it's going to work. So we are still working out the details on the exact process and so on. But the idea is that people will be able to apply
Right.
for grants. And then you will have kind of committees that are going to be looking at the different grants separated by verticals. So probably like DeFi, public goods, infrastructure, and so
Yeah.
on. And based on that, there will be recommendations from those committee and the Linea consortium, which so we are part of, along with ENS and so on. We will be the ones deciding if that makes sense to fund like that whole vertical or like those initiatives in those verticals.
Yeah.
So I think what we will be looking for is two things. First thing is Linea is really going for institutional adoption, and that's kind of becoming kind of the core identity of the chain, and which I think is amazing because we need to have like
Somebody's got to do it.
principled and like very and exactly somebody
Somebody
got to
has to
do
do
it,
it already.
and I think and I think Linea is in a great position for that with everything that Joe is doing with SBET and so on. I think it definitely makes sense. And on the other side, Status Network is not going to be catering to institutions. We're going to be focusing on social and gaming and basically non-financial apps because of the gasless transactions. So you don't want to be paying gas if your app is not making any money. So because everyone will lose money in the end.
Right.
So this is one of the things what we want to be focusing on. So at the Linea level, or like the consortium level, I think we'll be funding different type of projects that focus on different verticals. And so institutional adoption will definitely be something that will be critical for Linea L2. And on the other side, we think that ecosystem-wide improvements to the stack will also be definitely something that we look at.
Makes
And
sense.
so we kind of want to be doubling down on that in the sense that if you look at how the Linea stack by itself is progressing and funding itself, the fact that we're going to have that big new ecosystem fund is something that is very bullish for all the participants not only on Linea L2, on the Linea consortium or Linea cluster, as you want, but also on Ethereum, because Linea is Ethereum, and
Linea
that's the
is
idea behind
Ethereum.
it, right? We want to push that narrative. So we also want to support initiatives that may not be directly contributing to Linea, like immediately, but that also want to be contributing to the wider Ethereum ecosystem.
Right.
And so that's why, like, public good, public research, just like improvements to the network, everything like that will be, will be encouraged, and we'll make sure that people who apply for grants with those ideas will be considered.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that you keep saying Linea is Ethereum because that's what we've been saying. Because it's true, not just in the bytecode, but also in the ethos and also in the things we're doing to give value back to Ethereum rather than extract it and be our own business on top of the settlement layer. So I'm super excited about it. Okay, last question for you. Um, what is the launch strategy for Status Network? And how will this benefit the Linea token and the Linea ecosystem?
Ooh, now we're getting to the crunchy part. So um, what we want to do, and this is alpha, by the way, like alpha in the sense that we're trying to make it, if possible. I think it's going to be possible, but
I
yeah,
believe in you.
we're gonna make it. So the idea is that we want to be the first ones to offer linear yield, meaning we are going to be opening pre-deposit vaults. So by the way, just rewind a bit. We are currently in testnet phase. I encourage anyone to go to our testnet and try it out. It's gasless, so you can just like,
Yes,
you don't
yes.
even have to bridge to try it out.
The
You
best.
can just like try to spam it. Please do it and break it. In November, we're going to launch our testnet V2. The testnet V2 will have a spam protection embedded. And so we'll have like the whole tokenization coming along.
Mhm.
And what is going to secure that that spam protection is the native yield, basically. It's like how we make revenue and how we have economic security behind that spam protection. And so, what are we going to do? We are going to be allowing people to deposit ETH, stable coins, so USDC, USDT, and USDS, SNT, which is our own token that has been going around for like 7-8 years now, and Linea. And so that's the goal. We want to, we're literally working on that right now, to have a Linea vault. So people will be able in November to deposit Linea tokens into that vault and be rewarded with the governance token of the new network. So you'll have access to gasless transactions, and of course you'll be able to allocate the yield of the chain. But you will also receive some additional rewards, probably Linea tokens as well. And so that's the idea. We want
I'm
to
just laughing.
we want
Wait,
to
I'm
offer.
just laughing because I feel like everyone's watching this. They're being like doing the math. They're like, wait, so like when do these vaults open? In November? Okay, so the TG has to happen for November, but like how far ahead do you have to go? I feel like someone's just like doing math on paper. Sorry to interrupt you, but
That's the idea. Yeah. Again, like that's why I'm like, this is super alpha, because we are still working out the details. We want to make that happen. But I feel that we will be able to make it happen. So I'm kind of hopeful towards the future. But yeah, the idea is also a lot of people are sidelined on Linea. And I'm going to say it, I am sidelined on Linea. I have like a few LXP because I participated to the events, because of course I tried the networks and so on. But it's not like I heavily farmed it. I used it normally to test out applications, but I don't have a lot of LXP.
Same.
So I have no Linea exposure. I'll have to like buy it out the market the day of the TGE, right? So one of the idea is that we want to have those pre-deposit vaults where people will be able to deposit ETH, stablecoins, SNT, and Linea, if you have Linea, to earn some Linea tokens. And
Your
so
Linea
that's kind of
tokens.
the new thing. Yeah,
See,
yeah, yeah. That's the
there's
idea.
still
Like
hope.
I I want to be able to deposit ETH and get Linea. That's my goal.
I love that. I don't think I have enough LXP either. I think it's because I was working on all the LXP voyages that I like barely participated. So I'm gonna have to buy some Linea tokens as well. Here's the status.network if you guys want to test out the testnet. Test the testnet and stress test it for SIP here in Status Network. SIP, I'm feeling so good about you being a Linea steward. Again, I feel like you've been in the game for so long. You've been working with Linea for so long. How are you feeling about the other stewards? Have you guys met? Have you gone on a lunch date? Like, what have you guys talked about so far?
The cool thing is we pretty much already know each other. So we actually had a very interesting uh, workshop in Cambridge with Justin Drake and the EF back in January. And like a bunch of those stewards were already
Oh,
there. So
cool.
it was really nice to kind of the idea of the Linea consortium was not there yet,
Mhm.
but we already had kind of that vision of, yeah, we want to make Linea not just an L2, but like a proper stack, a proper ecosystem, and have like everything aligned, not just for a single organization, but across multiple organizations.
Yeah. I've been instructed by the team to not call it governance. They're like, stay away from the word governance. Boring. The consortium is like sounds so regal, and it's gonna be I feel like it's like a republic, it's like 5 elected or appointed officials who are gonna be making decisions. Tell us why. I mean, I know why the consortium's a good idea, but, like, why should people feel good about a consortium instead of, like, token holders voting on things and, like, strategizing the chain that way? Sell us on the idea.
Yeah, it's a great question. And actually, I think this is something that we want to push forward because we've seen the failures in the space. We literally seen, okay, I'm just going to give one of them. Arbitrum, when they launched their $200 million fund for gaming, what happened there? The reality is that it's token voters that just be like, oh yeah, we need to encourage gaming, and we're going to put like 200. I think it was like 220 million for gaming, but no one had gaming experience and no one had capital allocation experience. So what happened there? Like it's just like a big fund that just sits there. No one is actually
Mm,
managing it because it's very hard to manage such a large fund. No one is actually able to make those allocations.
yeah.
And and so the idea behind it was, look, we've seen that governance directly by token holders is a very tricky business, and that is sub-efficient. It's not something that we have seen to be able to do well at scale so far in crypto. So let's take a kind of a step back. Let's consider what does the ecosystem need. The ecosystem needs to have a strong view towards how to fund stuff, how to fund um, projects, open source, new apps, and so on. What is the easiest way to do it is to have builders and to have ecosystem members with a big stake in the ecosystem. I mean, we like our own entire livelihood is based on the Linea stack, so we need it to be successful in the long term. Um, so we have like skin in the game, right? We have
Right.
like a big skin in the game for that. So we want the ecosystem to be successful. So we will push that forward. And one of our goal also is, and I'm speaking for Status here. I want to, I want the Status token holders, so the SNC holders, to have a voice here. So we'll probably run like kind of public. How can I put that?
Like
Um,
polls?
just basically ask questions. Yeah, polls if you want. Yeah, yeah. we want to ask the token holders, what do they think about this initiative or this funding opportunity or this kind of overall roadmap direction that we want to encourage. And so that's the goal here, right? Is to have a new way to do that kind of governance thing in a way that is more aligned with the ecosystem, where people who make decisions have actually strong skin in the game,
Right.
and where we also are available for like just to hear from the community. And that's my goal. Is I want to be super available for anyone to reach out to me and be like, hey, I have that idea. Why don't you guys fund this thing? I think this is like a very important part of the roadmap that you need to
Right.
pursue and so on. And have the token ultimately have some value here, meaning token holders being able to wait on decisions, being able to be pulled, being able maybe to even have a representative on the consortium. This is all the things that we are still discussing,
Right.
and that we are super open for the community to discuss with us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. Like it does. It's a great idea. Like in theory, like, oh, you hold tokens, you vote on things, but you're right. Like, what if everyone decided that Linea should do gaming and then we're like, but we set everything up to do institutions, and then your roadmap and your whole strategy is totally blown up. So I feel like the strategy the team has is honestly really amazing. I'm feeling the best about working on Linea. I've worked here for 2 years. This is like the most bullish I've ever felt working here. I'm like so jazzed about it. I feel like again, we've like risen from the dead and now we're like crushing it. Um, so yeah, I feel like we staying on target. If you have Linea, the best way to grow your bags is to like let us stay on target. So I have a lot of faith in the stewards.
Exactly.
And our steward list is great. We have Status Network, we have ENS, Eigen Cloud, previously known as Eigen Layer or Eigen Labs, and SBET, Consensus, like you got a pretty good crew.
And I think we're gonna have more. That's the idea. Also, is
Maybe.
we want to kind of increase the size of the consortium based on who actually joins the cluster, the Linea cluster, and make sure that again they are aligned with the ecosystem. They have strong skin in the game here, and because in the end, it's going to be a massive like a massive fund,
Right.
and we need to have kind of professionals here to do the capital allocation.
Right.
And so this is kind of pretty
It's
cool.
gonna be really good.
Yep.
Everyone should get excited.
Yep.
And each week we're gonna have a new steward on this doing the same thing. So next week we're going to talk to Eigen, and then the week after that we're going to talk to ENS, and so on and so forth. And so everyone will get to like talk and hear from the stewards themselves. Um, and so yeah, you'll just get to meet our team and then feel really good about it. Sip, those are all the questions I have for you. I know I threw some extras in there at the end. Um, but we're really excited to have you as a steward. I think you're gonna crush it and do great. So namaste to you. Thank you for being here. Thanks for wearing your party shirt. And yeah, welcome to the family, you
That's
know?
actually my normal short,
Is
to be
it?
honest.
I'm
That's
all
my normal short. Yeah, I just spend the
man.
summer in like, enjoying outside. Yeah. So,
It's winter where I am, so it's all black, baby. All black, all winter.
oh yeah. Yeah, talk to me in like February.
Yeah.
You'll see it's like a
Okay.
whole
Once I'm
different
north of
mood.
the
Yeah.
equator. Amazing. Well, thank you so much
Yep.
for being here. Really appreciate it. We will be seeing you more. And yeah, everyone give Status a follow, give Sib a follow, and we'll keep you updated on all the governance, not governance, the consortium, and all the stewards that are happening in Linea. So thanks for being here. Thanks for being here, Sib.
Thank you so much.